We are live.
All right, we'll do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Yeah, play ball. Welcome to the May 20th, 2020 meeting. And as usual, let the record show that all three commissioners are here and accounted for, and along with our county auditor. County attorney will not be present tonight. It's conflicting, I believe, so he will not be here tonight. So let the record show that, and we'll kick it off by saying that if anybody's got anything that they want to bring up that's not on the agenda, or any kind of comment or question, now's the time to do that. Okay, nothing there, then we'll move right in. The first thing up is the first trial deputy prosecutor position. Mr. Chris Owen, come on up, Chris.
Thank you.
How are you tonight?
I'm just lovely. You guys?
We're all right, I guess.
So, I'm here to ask, I went in front of the council, I guess, earlier this month, I think, about creating a position in our office for the first trial deputy prosecuting attorney. I believe Tammy's told me that you have a job description in your packet of stuff there. And the council agreed to advertise and to fund the position. And I've got an email out to Teresa, meet with her to figure out exactly where the money could come from and how much out of everywhere. I've committed to at least $15,000 out of pretrial diversion funds. We're going to look to see if there's any way to get any more than that out there for the remainder of this year. This position will start July 1st, hopefully. And then moving forward, we would look to try to budget that and see if there's a way to get into the budget. And the reason I'm here to you guys, I'm asking for your blessing and for your approval to create this. This is a little bit different than a deputy prosecutor's position. This is going to be a position that has a little bit more experience with it, a little bit more responsibility. Somebody who's can be more in a leadership role within the office. I've got numbers here that I presented to the council if you'd like to show case filings and why we're in need of another position in our office if you guys want to hear that stuff.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so 2014 we filed 866 criminal cases, 2015 852, in 2016 we jumped to 988, and then you go to 2017 we're 1225, 2018 1270, 2019 1256. So that's over a 45% increase in criminal cases since 2014. We have 5 total prosecutors in our office, 2 of which are state employees, 3 of which now are county employees. And we just, manpower-wise, it's something we need to do. On a day-to-day basis, all 5 of us are running to barely keep covered what we can keep covered. Any kind of trials it takes, preparation for, someone goes on vacation, we can't keep the office covered. In addition, I have some stuff from other counties. Ripley County, for example, they filed 620 cases in 2019. They have 4 total prosecutors in Ripley County. We filed more than double that number of cases with just 1 additional prosecuting attorney. Washington County in 2018 filed 839 cases. Again, that's more than 400, less than what we file. They've got 4 total prosecutors. Harrison County has 5 total prosecutors. They filed 946 cases. It just.
So you said that this wouldn't be a prosecutor.
It would be a deputy prosecutor, but it's actually going in at a tad bit higher salary. It'll be a first trial deputy, a position that's more experience.
Technically, it's a seasoned attorney,
Yes.
trial attorney, and not one that's just files paperwork and does first degree.
Right, and all of us within our office do trials, but obviously you're not going to let a brand new attorney probably go in there and trial a high level major felony type case. This is going to be someone who's got major.
You say you paid what, $15,000 out of it out of pretrial?
I have guaranteed at least $15,000 out of pretrial diversions for the remainder of this year, and then I'm going to look to Tammy and see what we are comfortable spending out of that account to make sure we got enough to cover what normally is out there for next year. So it may be more than 15,000, or not Tammy, I'm sorry, Teresa.
And the
I just
council,
gotta get,
the council says yes to this, right?
the council approved this, yes.
And they,
You know, they approved it, yeah, the they approved the position as, so far as it goes, and they advertised about where the money can come out of for next time.
and it's got a set salary? How much?
Yeah, the salary was about, I think we said 75,000.
75.
And just so you know, our deputy prosecutors make roughly, it's not,
No,
around
I-
65,000 right now.
I think it's 65.
I'll, unless you talk more, I'm gonna tell you where I am on this. I'm okay with it, because the council's okay with it, and you're helping pay for it. It'll be a county employee, is that correct?
That's correct.
I would just tell you that, my concerns is not just you, it's everybody. I know you need to help. We're all worried about what's gonna happen late this year. If the economy just goes to fits, there could be layoffs. Just as long as you guys are prepared for that.
Sure.
Okay.
Has this, Ken Owens, you ever seen this?
Yes, sir. This was sent, Chris, I did a regular prosecutor's job description, sent it to him. He added the responsibilities that this one, and changed it, that this has been sent to Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy, and sent back to Chris for his final approval, but this has been ran by our HR firm for the right language in it.
Mike, you have any?
I don't ever see you in here, so I guess if I see you in here and you're wanting something, you must want something, so.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, the big kicker we got to talk with the council is, I think we're moving in the right direction in this county, and I think we want to keep that up. And I know Donnie Ritchie spoke up and said, you know, he goes and sits on a lot of, before COVID obviously, sits on a lot of porches and talks to a lot of people, and he's hearing a lot of things where, before he was hearing about people in certain areas where, you know, people were beating on their doors, trying to get in, asking for, you know, money for drugs, and he says, what I'm hearing out there is, that's not happening right now. We want to keep moving in that.
I think that's true.
We want to keep moving in that direction.
Okay.
And I don't want you to think we're gonna come, I'm talking layoff, but
Sure.
if it goes where it could,
Absolutely.
I can't promise you what's gonna happen later,
Right.
so
I understand.
as long as we got that in mind.
And council did say that this was for 6 months. This is a position that will start July 1, by the way. It starts July 1 through the end of the year, and then he will put that in his budget for 2021, and it'll be reconsidered like everybody's position basically here is anyway every year. So it'll be reevaluated again in about 3 or 4 months.
If things get as bad as I'm worried about, we might need more prosecutors.
I guess, you know, I mean, this isn't towards you, Chris, but I mean, towards the council, is that said in a council meeting last week, or a week or so ago, I'm just kind of confused on one hand, they tell you they don't have a dime, the next minute they find money out of the shoelaces someplace, so I just kind of mystified sometimes of, where they find the money, so. when they
Mr.
tell you-
Owens, he was directed to find as much as he could.
I understand that.
Yes,
but
and
I'm
then,
talking about council,
yes, and that
so-
what they agreed to advertise, again, it's not finally approved, was up to 39,000. That's all they've decided to contribute towards this,
My concern is
so.
with the council, because like I said, I know other places that are having a lot of part-time employees, and I don't know where their money's coming, where they're getting the money to pay for employees, so I'm just concerned about the council telling the commissioners, you know, they don't have money, or they don't know where they're gonna find money, and it seems like they find it someplace, so I'm just comment, you know, I'm with you though.
I understand, thank you.
Motion?
Yeah, I'll accept a motion to approve the first trial deputy prosecuting attorney's job description here.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
And I'll make that unanimous.
Thank you.
And, they can find the money and help you out, and so be it.
Thank you.
And I do think we're moving in the right direction.
I think we are,
You know,
too.
I think, like John said there a minute ago, COVID's kind of throws a monkey wrench into some things, but again, I think we're moving in the right direction. And I say, when you got a forward motion, don't give it up. That's, don't back it up.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming.
If you don't mind, I'll try and go home, toss some baseball out in the yard before we go.
There you go.
Thanks.
There you
Take
go.
care.
All right, next up is the Highway Department annual report.
We have a annual report due to LTAP, and we're able to get grants due June 1st of every year, and I just need a motion to approve the report and 3 signatures.
What is it again, Jill?
It's the annual report. I take Teresa's financial statement, and we have to prove to the state that we spent the money legally between restricted fund and the MBH fund, and we have to turn it into LTAP. So it's a headache, but we have to do it to be able to get grants.
And you've got that all taken
Yeah,
care of?
it's done, it's a bid.
So all you need is a motion to approve your annual report.
Yes.
Do I hear a motion?
Yeah, I'll make,
Second?
I'll say.
I'll make that unanimous.
Also, I have the grant request, that I just need your signature on, Bob, and this is just allowing me to go ahead with the community crossing grant, since the council, met with you all and told them that they would try to find the funds. So I just have to take that in front of you, and then I'll take it in front of Mike.
This has already been acted on here at the council meeting. Do we need a motion on this? Let's just do a
It's
motion.
your grant work.
Yes, if you don't mind, please, would you make a motion to approve that grant
That's
application?
for, no, this is for the,
Community
request for
crossing.
the,
It'll be 2020-2 CCMG.
and, community crossing grant. So,
oh, yeah, okay.
John make a motion.
Yeah.
Mike, you
I'll
second?
say.
Unanimous, go.
You got anything for me?
Got some roads need repaired.
How's the, Jan? We'll get that,
Kind of slow, but
coming after,
yeah.
okay.
They got big ox, well,
Hold on.
We need to bring up anything on what we talked about? Yes, no?
It would
We
be
need
a
to
good,
make it
it would be a good time to, because
make
I'm
a suggestion about,
employees.
all right,
Yeah.
you just said.
Yes,
It's came to our attention that we could possibly have some county employees that have been, had an interaction or with someone that could be COVID-19 positive, or they're being tested for that. I know early on, the sheriff's department had a deputy that had an issue with a family member, so I guess where I'm at with that, and I think the health department, because Jill called me today, I called Michelle, talked to her, she called me back, she'll back and forth, but where I think we should be is the same way they did with the sheriff deputy, is that if we have a county employee that is not necessarily showing any symptoms, but their family member or someone in their household is showing symptoms and is being tested, that person ought to be sent home until the results of that test comes back, or if they do test positive, I think the ruling now is that if you go, I know in the beginning it was 14 days, I don't think it's 14 anymore, it's 3 days without a fever or any type of symptoms, and you can return to work. So at this point, Jill has an employee in that falls into that category. I would like for us, I guess, make a decision that that employee stays on until at least Monday. Maybe the test comes back and it's clear. If it's not, he returns to work or continues to stay off. And I think by federal guidelines, he's paid while he's off.
when did you find out about it?
That all happened today.
Oh, you just found out today?
And what
I
needs to.
suppose we need to be careful what we're saying.
We
Yeah.
do, that's true, but what needs to happen is we need to maybe see if, when payroll goes out, or she sends an email out, or employees need to go to their department head immediately.
yeah.
Because
I've
I
relayed
was
that before, but.
to the employees.
Well, it's department heads, which
Yeah.
should relay it to their employees. I don't have every employee on an email, so.
Well, I know, I thought
Yeah.
you
But
attached it to
anyway,
their
dealing with it right
paycheck.
now, we need to do something now.
Yes,
So,
I think you're probably right. I think at this point, again, I think by federal guidelines, you have to do that. And I'm just saying that whatever the I think the CDC and the Indiana State Board of Health has deemed as the procedure, that's the procedure we ought to follow. So if it's you know, 10 to 12 days, and that's what it is. If it's, that the person is, not positive, and then, you know, it tests negative, then once they can come back after that, I'm sure. But I think I think we follow, we've said that all along, we follow whatever the health department or the state health department and the CDC has set forth on these guidelines and how we react to it, I think.
Has our health department been notified?
Yes, I
Yes.
talked to her this afternoon,
So-
actually this morning, but to go along with that, though,
They were not tested in this county
the
though.
people need, or our employees need to know that they're not gonna lose their job because someone in their family,
Correct.
tests positive or is showing symptoms or whatever. They just need to come to us and be upfront so that they're not giving it to somebody that's working beside them. And in this situation, the guy came to work and I mean, and he, you know, been close to a person, so.
I got family members, everything in another county, and same thing, go on.
So that's my,
Yeah, and I think that's.
Other
we need-
departments, I mean, I've
and
dealt
that-
with
and I
another
don't-
issue today,
You know, I
yeah.
think we need to, myself, I don't think we need to recommend that, we'll require that.
Yeah,
It's,
and that's,
you know, we're not gonna recommend that they do that, we're gonna require that if you, are an employee of this county in any capacity.
And also,
You assume, you've got to make your department head aware, and at that point, the department head, whoever it may be, will, take it from there. I think that would be, the only fair way of doing this. I mean,
and also going back to discussion you had just a minute ago, maybe we should send out another letter.
I have sent
Sam.
memos to department heads on all the updates and the things, and
I believe you,
there's,
and I know it, but
and it's said report, if, you know, don't call, if you're sick or you've
Yeah.
been exposed,
Still,
notify
it's
your
good for
department
them
head.
to hear from you all that they're not gonna get fired or in
Oh, no,
trouble.
well,
And
no, this is nothing.
what I wanna make sure they
And I-
contact what department heads, like
Right.
you said.
but what I suggest, and I don't know if you do it or not, or if it's even, there's so many notes on that board out, or on that door walking out.
Yeah, we take everything to our door.
And I'm
What
gonna
I'm saying
add,
is if, and it's my word, and it says, if you have a temperature, turn on, go home. I mean, period. I mean,
Turn
you're
it
not gonna
back
get
on, but
fired
it was
if they want you to go home.
Which really, I don't, Josh got all those in, I don't know if he was,
on Friday, you guys at your joint meeting are gonna have a policy that I was sent based on the federal policy that was Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy's, and I've got a little bit of update to do on it because the CDC has again, you know, changed their guidelines on things from their initial onset. This policy is effective April 2nd through the end of the year. This has to do with people who are quarantined or missing work due to COVID-19 related issues, and that has never been adopted yet by this board. Bob wanted me to send it to Michelle, and then it's for your joint meeting on Friday. So that will get into place, which then once that's in place, I can send that notice out to everybody or put it on paychecks or whatever to, you know, urgent, you know, if you, please, if you're sick or been exposed, notify your department head immediately. I mean, we could even put that, I think we can even put the message on the check,
The meeting on Friday is in the morning, isn't it?
9:30.
I would say this right now, and I think every department head needs to be making a presence at that meeting, and we can tell them directly. So if there's no ifs, ands, buts about it, that they understand that this is what you tell your employee, so. I mean, they're here in the courthouse anyway, so it's not a big deal for them to walk down here and say, you know, 5 seconds and say, you understand what we're telling you, so.
Yeah, and it's, again, and I'm going back to what you said earlier, this is not to discipline or anybody, it's not to remove anybody from their job and not pay them or fire them or anything that they may think. This is just simply good, I think, hygiene for everybody, and we certainly want to try to practice that and to keep all of our employees safe if we can.
Yeah,
So, you know.
and I know they've been told, you're right, I've seen it, but,
And I've expressed to my employees several times.
But that's employee we gotta press it on,
correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
you've got to know your department head.
And I have told my employees several times, I have to trust you to do the right things outside this office to where we're safe together, and you have to trust me. So there's a lot of responsibility we have to each other.
I'm like Bob, though. I think it shouldn't be something we give an if, but, or about. It's
It's
like,
a
if this happens, what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about it is, I mean, I know you all had the conversation with Dr. Rogers, so.
Yeah,
Same thing's happening here. You can be as safe as possible in this building, but when that person walks out that door,
sure.
they might get in a carload of 12 people in a Volkswagen and go home.
And do.
You know,
Yeah,
yeah, but what I'm saying is that outside of here, you don't know what they're doing. And you don't know what the people they're interacting with are doing, so,
sure.
so,
But I think, like I say, let's just require that, and let's go ahead and contact the employee and tell them that if I can stay home, at least they get the results.
And he left early today to go do the testing, so I can count that in as he'll be paid.
Yeah.
And you'll want what on the,
You would just write COVID-19
Okay.
on his time sheet for
Okay.
whatever he was gone.
okay,
And like you said a minute ago, we need to make sure it's clear at this meeting that they don't have to worry about their jobs or getting paid
Oh, yeah.
and all that.
That's
We should
federal
be- that-
guidelines.
It is, but to stop them from questioning it,
I guess the other.
You're gonna
part
get paid.
is, Who, he was directly in a pickup truck with somebody, does that person need to quarantine?
Michelle said we were talking
well,
about
yeah,
that
the
Friday.
health department should do that, yeah.
And again, since we're live, it has no one at the county highway department has tested positive yet.
Yes, no, no.
So, you know how,
Well, this is a member.
yes, this is just a
family
family member, so,
So with that, yeah.
so I will notify him of that, okay?
They won't get fired, they will get paid.
Right, right,
Just let your rest of your guys know what's happening too.
I will. And what was your, I thought you were gonna say something
Oh,
about.
I just-
okay. Oh, okay.
Appreciate them taking care of
Okay.
Hawks Road.
Okay.
I know it's a mess, but and it may be a while if we can get it, but they did
Try,
fill it in.
okay, all right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, next up is, the health department recommendations for reopening county buildings, as we do, open back up, completely, I think. This is, I think you've got a copy of this in here, and this is something that they're recommending. They think we should encourage or require employees to wear a mask, especially if social distancing is not possible. We'll ask security to take temperature and ask questions of employees and patrons coming into the courthouse. We can provide thermometers, and we will not allow anyone to enter with a temperature of 100.4 or greater. Employees who appear to have symptoms upon arrival at work or who become sick during the day should immediately be separated from the other employees, customers, and visitors and be sent home. We'll ask patrons to wear a mask upon entry. They're clean, frequently touched surfaces. Counters have to be cleaned after each customer. Keep common doors open. Provide easily accessible hand sanitizers to the patrons and employees. And we'll put 6 feet markings on the floor for offices that could have lines. And security should also help manage lines with busy departments, i.e. the clerk's office with voting, treasurer's office with tax payments, etc. And we should consider having 50 to 75% capacity limit in the courthouse. And I think that's probably all good advice on their behalf to do. Myself, I think that's probably something we should do.
I think the most controversial thing would be the first one, but I think that can be resolved too. Require to wear a mask or encourage. Just my thoughts are, just go with what the guidelines are. Say, anytime you're talking to the public or you're within 6 foot of any of your neighbors, you gotta have it on. That's just thought. I mean, that don't mean you have to wear it in your office, but if you're out there with the employee, maybe you'll put it on.
Did they get the glass up in your office yet?
It's in process. Josh is he's got my counter pretty much squared away, and my understanding is he's ordered the glass for the plan commission and for my office. So we're on the move with that. It's just not ready yet.
So really, your office and I think the assessor's office is the only 2 offices that have that at this time, other than like, I don't think the judge's office.
Downstairs or
Your office don't have it yet, but it will, correct? They're working on it too. Then at that point, I would think, yes, I think, if you've got the glass in between you, then I can see where the mask would be, you would have to wear that. But I think, without the glass, I think, anytime you're greeting the public, I think you need to probably wear the glass.
And also, highway department looking real hard about putting some up at the entrance door where the public comes in.
And that may, and yeah, that may be a good idea. too, yeah.
Actually, I'd like to see the health department do it.
Yeah. So with that, I don't know, any questions or comments on your part, Mike?
The only thing I have is down at the bottom where it says considering having 50% or 75% capacity. I mean, I don't know what, you never know what that number is. I mean, if you were at Walmart and you got a clicker and you knew how many people would go in there, then, and the capacity is 600 people, then you know,
It's gonna be tough.
you know.
Yeah, I'm like,
here,
what's the capacity? Yeah.
what's the capacity? I mean, and so I think,
And here,
I think before we talked about it, like in individual offices, like if Amy's got a person or two people in inside her doorway there, and there's two people standing outside, and somebody walks in the door, and one of the guards asked him where he had, and then he said the auditor's office, and he said way outside for somebody to leave. Then, so I mean, at that point, I think you can kind of filter it that way, but.
yeah, because I think of that 50% capacity or 75% capacity, you know, if you figure the capacity of this courthouse, you gotta figure courtrooms in it. And so, you know, at that point, I mean, it
But
gets.
I think
it gets-
technically right now, the courtrooms are still closed.
Yes, but that,
Yeah,
yeah.
So,
And like you said, I have trouble figuring out what is capacity. That's, yeah, so where do you go, what's 50%?
Fire marshal can tell you, but it's, I think the last time we talked about, some stuff, when that trial was gonna happen upstairs, we asked what the capacity was. Fire marshal didn't want to say, and they don't, I mean, because it's an open room, so in turn, it's whatever you deem safe, but I mean, I don't know, I think that's.
I think that, I
don't
think you're
know.
right.
If
I
you
think
get a
if
bunch
we're
of
backing
people-
up in the hallway, ask them to stand outside.
Yeah.
So
The
somebody
office
leaves out.
holders themselves
It's got,
can
yeah,
limit their own amount of people into the room, because chances are there are only gonna be one or two at a time. If somebody's gonna talk to you, they may be waiting on you, you know?
Amy's got a sign out there where, as I heard, said two people inside and the rest of you way outside.
And
so,
we got
and-
two stickers on the floor, and that's, because I get abstractors, and see, I get people that sit sometimes for 30 minutes at that computer. Well, I don't want 4 or 5 other people getting exposed to this person if,
So
you know.
I think you use your own judgment, but I think at that point, if the security's sitting at the end of the hallway and they see the hallway filling up, then, you know, they need to cut it off and say, hey, wait until somebody comes out here. But I don't think you put a direct number on it, so.
so do we need to do anything on this? Or-
Not really.
Just
I
like
think it's just a
consensus?
segue into whether,
Okay.
what date you guys want to shoot for another soft opening, or whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
But
And whenever we do, we need to make some of this
Yeah.
concrete.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry, Tammy, I thought.
oh no, you're good. You're good.
Well, I mean, me personally, I don't think I wanna wait for another 2 weeks for another meeting, so, in the meeting Friday, what's on the agenda for that meeting?
It's still kind of in pencil in my folder, but it's going to be those policies I referred to a while ago. I think it's maybe more open. I think pandemic was always going to be on there.
Yes.
And a couple other things, but I'll send out an agenda tomorrow on it.
I think I'm gonna I'd like to make a motion to open the courthouse to, 75% capacity or whatever come Monday, so I think it's time to move along.
Monday they're out. So
Tuesday, yeah.
I honestly ain't gonna go for that, but we all got our opinion, but I'm shooting for June 1st, always have, and I'll stick to that. But,
What's the city doing?
there's up June 1st.
June 1st?
I think Austin is too, I don't remember, you know their dates?
Yes,
Is that what
Yeah.
they're doing?
the two cities are through May 29th.
Yeah. And do we meet before then?
No.
Friday. That's it. And then you won't meet till June 3rd.
Okay, well, I don't know if I want anything outside of we need to get our policies in order before then. If we're gonna vote on any of this stuff, we may have to meet just to get, say, yeah, here's what we're gonna get done.
I'm probably,
Go ahead, Bob.
I'm probably okay with that. That's just, I mean, because what we're looking at is, that's just actually 4 more days, from, you were saying, basically Tuesday, which would be the 26th.
May 26th.
And so we're just looking at them 4 days would be the only thing it would affect. So I think I would probably be all right with that June, and that way everybody opens the same, whether it be the city and, also the city of Scottsburg County. I'd be all right with that, but it is just 4 days, but I think it is. But I don't know about that. I don't know how to figure this, the capacity on it, like we said.
You're not.
I think you just say with, that it will open back up with these recommendations or requirements. I don't know if you want.
One thing I do want to throw out is our elevator. Was there anything on that list? Because honestly, I haven't read that
Nothing.
whole list.
Nothing on about the
We
elevator.
might need a sticker or something, because I know different counties have addressed their elevator. I think, I mean, if you're obviously 2 or 3 people and you're going upstairs to court and you're in the same household, that's okay. But if you aren't related to those people and you don't, share a home with those people, I think you need to take that elevator one at a time or whatever, because there's not much room in there.
I think a simple suggestion would be, anybody comes in this courthouse, gotta keep 6-foot distance, and that would include the elevator.
It might work, you can only get 2 people in it, but it's a bigger elevator than this one, so.
Yeah.
And I think maybe should there be some on the outside the elevator doors that says
There's a
limit?
sign on the outside of the elevator that says two people only,
Okay, max 2 people.
yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Since my guys will be the ones dealing with this, you're talking about a recommendation or a requirement.
Uh-huh.
There's a huge difference.
Yes, there is.
If someone says, well, this is a recommendation, well, I disagree with your recommendation, then what do we do?
They can't
That's
do
a question
anything.
that
That's
I would
right.
pose, exactly. You request 2 people in your office, and I want to stand here, it's a public building. What is our fallback? That is a question I would pose and ask, that we seek guidance on that, please.
The only thing I think you're gonna get pushback on is whether somebody wears a mask or not, and all you can do, you can't force somebody to put a mask on, you can ask them to put a mask on, but in a public building, you can't force them to do that. So I think be polite, but as long as you stay 6 feet away from somebody, and I think they're fine, but you're right, I mean, when you start dictating something to somebody and they're gonna take offense to it, but as far as I'm gonna tell you how I do it, and I've been several places, but if I'm someplace and somebody invades my 6 foot, I move. And I get out of their way, let them do whatever their merry way they wanna do, but, I keep away from people. I mean, if I'm going down an aisle and somebody else is coming at me and I don't like the look, I go the other way, so. In here, I think it's a suggestion, but, I don't think any of this is yes or no, so, I mean, that's where you're gonna fall into, does somebody want their temperature taken? I mean, quite honestly, I think all employees and everybody else ought to. I mean, if even an employee comes in with a 100.1 temperature or 4 temperature, then they go home. I mean, I think the only problem you're gonna have is with the mask, but the rest of the part, I think it's common sense, and if somebody wants to really gripe about it, I'd say,
I think,
Unfortunately, common sense is short in my mind.
but we,
Most of the time.
I assume the health department, I think, indicated that they would get us the equipment to test temperatures and all that when people came in.
yeah, that's.
And by the way, that ought to be employees too, like you said that, so there may be a little bit of stop on that, but,
I think what Toby's asking is, if he gets pushback, his people gets pushback from somebody, what's the alternative?
I think it should be policy. Now, the question of it is, what can they do with policy? There you go again.
I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna go out on a limb. If you get somebody that doesn't want to abide by a 6 foot spot or whatever, and you ask them politely to separate 6 foot, if they don't wanna do that, then they can, I would suggest they leave. And, because, I mean, if they don't wanna abide by that rule inside here.
I'm okay with
Because
that.
there's a police if you go to any of these big stores, there's a police officer there. If they're getting any pushback from people, the police officer walking up to them and having a conversation. So, I don't want anybody arrested by any means, but I think people need to understand 6 feet, 6 feet, 2 people in this room is 2 people in the room, and 1 person in the elevator, and unless you're a family, and if you don't like it, you can come back on a different day,
And I'm with you, everything you said. The only thing I would say is, like I said, go back with the big difference between policy and what you can do about it. And, if somebody says, I'm going in regardless, where do you go from there? And that's where I think we better talk to our attorney.
Yeah.
Well, I'm for what
That's
you
what I-
said, but I think we need to
Yeah.
find out exactly what we're gonna do if it happens.
Let me ask you this, and I'll play the devil's advocate just a little bit here myself. On recommendations and reopening, and doing this, for what time frame? I mean, for how long do we do this? I mean, is this something that's in place for the month of June? Is this, because I think they said by July the 4th, everything is considered to be wide
Me
open?
personally, I'm saying we leave it undetermined because
And I think
it can
that's,
change from month
yes,
to month.
and I think that's what we're probably gonna have to look at, is the idea that, if we don't know, what the numbers are gonna do, and, I've heard the CDC say that if the numbers start to spike in certain places, then people may have to go back under some kind of quarantine for a short time period. So I think we wanna leave this open-ended, kinda like you're saying, that says, at this point, this is the recommendations for the courthouse reopening. This is how we're reopening it, but again, I don't think we're gonna take people's temperatures for the next 2 years, but we may take them for the next 2 months, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So at that point, I think that's what we need. So, okay, that's.
So Mike had a motion.
I'll change the motion to be June first, so if Austin City and Scottsburg City are both open on June first, let's just make it as simple and just make it June first.
And I must be more clear. It opened June 1st at 9 a.m. or whatever, not June 2nd. I know that's silly, but some people think that means the next day.
No,
June
if
1st will open up June 1st.
At eight o'clock or
8 a.m.
whatever courts, well, I don't know if courts are gonna
And
be
that,
in.
and that is a Monday, so yeah, June the 1st, yeah.
I'm okay with
At
that.
eight.
At 8:30 or
At
whatever.
8:30. the
8:30.
courthouse will be reopening to the public, without,
If you're
we
not
still, I think I still think that, it's, if people can, limit, I'm not gonna ask them to, but I think people may get, where they may call up here and say, hey, you know what, need to come in and get a building permit, can you give me a time frame? They may do that, and that's okay if they do, but if not, the people go, well, June the 1st at 8:30, it will open back up under these recommendations.
If you're gonna put something out, like a media blast or something, why don't you try to put some of these, not all of them, but I mean, some of them like, hey, you might be asked, or you probably will be asked to take your temperature, you will be asked to wear a mask, you will be asked to social distance. I mean, just put those, I think those bullet points there, I wouldn't put all of them, cause all of them really don't matter to anybody, but I think if you forewarn them that here's what we're requiring you to do to be in this building, then they can't come in here and go, well, I didn't know that. Or, now, you might get somebody that's still gonna push back, but
And I think,
I mean, I've been a lot of places, I haven't seen too many
I
people
haven't
push
either.
back any place.
and I think most people overall, most people is,
Yeah.
I think, trying to realize and trying to do the right things, and, this ain't about me and it ain't about you or you, it's about all of us, and that's, I think, most people's trying, to gracious.
Well, they were giving me grief the other day for having a mask on in ours, but I needed something in there, that's why I put it on.
Yeah.
Well, we need to
If I didn't need it, I wouldn't put it on.
We need to formally probably tell Michelle to get the thermometers up here for us.
Yeah.
I can explain to them how to use it.
And I think,
Actually, those
That's-
thermometers, it's push a button and it tells you the temperature.
I think there's some new ones come in just this week, I think, if I remember right, I've seen some.
Me, sheriff said he knew of some other machine they could walk through or something. I haven't heard no more from that.
No, I haven't either.
I think it's been,
There's a lot of people doing that, but it's a $2,000
Yeah.
machine, and it runs off body temperature, and it's like a infrared type of thing.
and now we're going, here we go. If somebody had a temperature, we wanna give these guys authority, so you ain't coming in.
Yeah. Well,
And
that's
that's,
true.
and, yeah, and I
that's
think
what,
at that
that's
point,
what she needs to also.
yeah.
Going back to all of
Your
that.
temperature's gonna be taken, and if it's 100.4, then sorry.
And
I think,
also
and I think
that-
this is a pretty well, myself, I think this is, pretty well explanatory here. It just says, basically, it says we do not allow anyone to enter with a temperature of 100.4 or greater. So at that point, they don't come in.
And I think also we ought to educate our people at the front door to also go back to explain to them, I don't mean you can't do business, but you gotta do it the way we were doing it before. You gotta use the telephone, you gotta do this, or if you, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, or
Lockbox.
just, now, you ain't allowed to do business. I don't mean they can't do that. That just means you ain't walking the doors into this.
And if you're not able to enter the building and conduct business, that contact the department head.
Guess who that's.
And, yes, again, and contact the department head, you know, to figure out a way you can be accommodated to
Yeah.
accomplish what you need, so,
Yeah, thank you.
yeah.
All right, Mike has made the motion for these are the guidelines we follow for reopening of June the 1st at 8:30 in the morning. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
That's unanimous on my part, and we'll move forward on that. The next thing is, actually, and I asked for this to be put on here, as the next thing here is the interview room at the jail. Jerry had called me and basically said that he has I think, and come up, Toby, you can help me out here, but I think it was your office, maybe a small office there that Lori used, that he would like to make into an interview room, is that correct?
Yeah, first of all, on behalf of Sheriff Green, he apologizes for sending the JV squad today, but he was unable to make it. What we are wanting to do is build off of where Lori's office, just a very small office. It's going to be an interview room. We're going to use inmate labor. The cost is going to be fairly minimal. It's already in the budget for the rehab project. It's going to be a very small office, probably a 5 by 10, 5 by 7, something along those lines that we're going to use for interviews to get us compliant. Currently, we are not compliant with legal guidelines on interviews, and this will give us the ability to do that.
And that office has been there, hell, I built it when I was there. It's been there 15 years or longer, and it's a very small little cramped space, even for anybody working. And it was built to have a little opening here for the public to do business, and we'll shut it off, all that stuff. So I think what he wants to do, and I called him about other things, and we talked about that, but I think he just wants to take that little existing office and move it out that way.
We're going to build basically 2 walls.
You're not tearing the old office down.
No, we're not tearing it down. We're basically just building 2 walls off of that office to enclose that area, and then we'll have to put in some camera, maybe some lighting. We already have a camera for it.
And I think the money was there, and he said if it didn't match, if he told me right, if I remember right, he said we'd have to pay for it out of his commissary.
Yeah, if the money's not there in the rehab budget, again,
He thought it was. but-
we think it is. We're talking some 2x4s and
Yeah.
very minimal stuff, and the labor is going to already be in-house, so.
Mostly used for interviews, is that correct?
Correct.
It's an interviewing,
To do an interview and interrogation, yes, sir.
I suppose it could be done for the other reasons, I mean, like hard and far and that kind of stuff.
Whatever we would
But
need to do an
anyway,
interview for, but currently, you have to have, if we're interviewing someone and they're not under arrest, they have to have the ability to get up and walk out and leave on their own free accord. And we currently do not have that, so this will get us in compliance.
I could have done that, probably. Get the buzz and get out.
You got buttons to get out, you're right. All right, any questions on your part, John?
No.
Mike? I hear a motion to allow.
I will make a motion to allow Jerry to extend that office out, what's needed, yeah. I don't know the exact dimensions, but, yeah.
I'll second
I'll make it unanimous.
Thank you. I'll mention something real quick. I mentioned it to Jill she was leaving on the way out with the employees. If they are a first responder, they can get moved to the front of the line to get testing and get the results back. So we've had that done with a couple of our employees. And I know she's got several first responders down there, so she was going to check into that to see if they couldn't expedite that to get those employees either back or know where they stand. So, you guys have anything else for me?
No.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
BCA appointment, this is one that we had, I don't know if anybody's come up with anybody, I thought about it, but
I've thought about a couple of people, but I've been having trouble getting a hold of them, so I'll,
Put it to June 3rd then.
We can do
I like
that.
to push it off,
Okay.
because I'd really like
That's one
to be able to
that,
get a hold of
I haven't
them.
had.
And it is,
Bill Banner,
Yeah.
is,
it is a Republican, it is the
I knew
Republican.
Is that,
Because Bill Bannon was my appointment.
was, okay, so then that would be, yes.
So, yeah.
We
We
will
can
be
do it on
Republican
the,
Party.
I don't,
Bill Bannon was
for,
my.
but I don't remember that being a political
It was.
appointment, any of them.
Yeah.
I thought the only political appointments we had was for the health department.
Nope.
Planning
No.
Commission has
Planning
BZA.
commission is too? Okay, that's fine.
'Cause that
There's
was-
some people by statute, like your
Yeah.
Purdue and da-da-da, that has to be on their survey or whatnot, but then you do have certain political appointments.
I guess I didn't remember that, so, yeah, I'm fine with that, you know.
I'll have a person by that time.
Okay. I was gonna add to that if I can, this is probably more for you, Marty. One thing I have noticed is the website doesn't have any of the members on the website, who they are. Most, not just this, most any board. I would like to get you don't have to leave personal information or telephone, but I'd like to be able to go on our website, because that is our view for the public to see who we are, what we are. So I'd like to see the names on there. You might have to go through Andrew or something. And you guys may disagree with me on it, but that's my thoughts.
Oh, I think
They probably-
I think any board we have, I think it ought to be public.
I do
Record
too.
of who that
I do
person,
too.
who the people are on that board.
But it's not. So,
Well, it's public record, it's just not.
It's
It's
just
not
not
out.
displayed on the
Yeah.
website.
I don't have a problem.
you take care of that? You don't look like you're happy about it. Thank you.
All right, next up, we'll, again, put that off on the next meeting then. The next thing up is the county Oakland grant application. And this is I talked to you guys, this board about this earlier. And this is the one that I actually went ahead and had applied for it. It is in the works. We don't know whether we'll get this or not, but they had such a large, I think, demand on this. But this is, amount I requested was $150,000. It's through Oprah, and it is a form of a grant, and it was to fund food delivery services to quarantine or medically vulnerable individuals, and a food pantry for those who are able to pick up. And so that's what that was for, if you remember back when I was talking about that. But anyway, this is just a formality here that we have to do, I think, correct for you.
Yes, and just
So-
like you did for Jill's a while ago, I
Yeah,
have
so
to
we
have
just need
this.
a
I'll
motion
make
to
a
approve.
motion to accept them.
And I'll second.
And that's unanimous, and, I don't know.
I'll stamp you.
Is
How's
there a
that?
timeline when they think they're gonna know who they're gonna do it with?
Well, I thought it was gonna be now moved back to June, isn't it, first of June?
They are going to, there was such an overwhelming response. They said that this application, and I think several others, were put on hold, and they would let us know whenever it reactivated or whatever. But they were inundated with applications, so.
Okay, and I have a couple things to do here, but, okay, the FSA, Just Farm Acreage Assessment, this is, on the Just property, up there behind Tri-Hawk, and this is changed, because of the 2 acres off the corner there for the Jennings Township, satellite fire department, I'll call it. So that had to change to the FSA out there, and it's changed the assessment on that, and that's what this is. And do we have?
I have the paperwork here,
Okay.
and I just gave you the email from Stephanie, a copy, everybody, so you can see what it's all about. But the actual paperwork are the forms that she's got here, and then if you guys so moved, then Bob would sign both those forms to update the information.
All right.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Make it unanimous. And show me where to sign, we'll sign it. And while she's getting that there, okay. And, this, and up next here is a, and I'm gonna let John kind of take over here in a minute. I know that he's had more dealings with this than what I have, and a little bit more than what I can tell you, but it's, I think we've had some inquiries about maybe rental of the parking lot on North Gardner at the John Jones Center, and also Southeastern Indiana is wanting to do a shed at the transfer station. So I know you're on that board with the Sears board, but the other, I know you was in contact with them, so I'll let you turn it over to John.
I would like to start with Sears first. We talked about that a while ago.
Okay.
And Marty's gonna take care of it, but you need somewhere along the line for us to get permission for that? Or can you just take care of it?
I can just.
I'm trying to
take care
say, maybe we ought to vote tell her okay, as long as they meet any requirements needed. I'm
You talking
okay.
about the building?
Yeah, the shed out there. I'll make a motion to give the permission for Marty to okay it if they meet the proper requirements.
And could I amend that to say, and waive fees?
Yes, and wait for
The other part of that is, let me ask us this question, are they building something, or are they going to drop a already built prefab building down?
Said they're gonna build a shed, is what they told me.
Sorry, I didn't.
I don't have a problem either way,
Yeah.
as long as it meets our guidelines, I'll second that.
That's the way it me.
And I can certainly let all three of you know what's,
Okay.
what the application
I mean,
is.
nobody's gonna be living in it, so it's just.
No. They said the oil and stuff they gotta have, they need like people.
I'm fine with that.
And I haven't talked to Meeks out there, but I can't imagine it being a problem.
I'll make it unanimous, so.
Now, on the parking lot thing, if you guys want to, I can call this guy and put him on speakerphone. And he can tell us what he wants, and we can ask questions, whatever, if you guys are okay with that, or if you'd rather do some phone calls on your own, I don't care. But he's willing to address it.
Well, I don't make a decision until our attorney
I agree.
hears about it, because, there might be some liability stuff there that we don't wanna be involved in,
I get
One
that.
thing that,
and the insurance part of it.
yeah,
So,
Do we want to listen to him?
I think
Yeah.
I'm not against listening.
Yeah, I'm
That's
okay
kind of
with
where
that.
I am too.
yeah.
You guys okay? I'll bring him up there then.
Did we? I don't know, we don't have any kind of price on that, though, did we? At this point?
I think that has to come in a contract.
Yeah.
I know the numbers he threw
Yeah,
out, but
yeah, I think we'll leave that alone. And that would come in something that he would, yeah.
I'll ring him up. Sean Criswell, Operations Manager, Ventures Logistics. Let me see. All right.
Hello.
Sean Criswell, is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah, this is John Lesmie, Commissioner in Scott County, and also our chairman, Bob Tobias, and Mike Jones are here, other members, and we talked earlier about the trucking and all that out, the health department and all that, and maybe you could explain it a little bit better to all three of us. I doubt that we vote on it tonight. Matter of fact, I know we're not going to, but we do want to know all the details so we can make a decision as quick as possible.
Okay, I got
Yeah.
very little detail from that, so, I guess what answers, or what do you guys need to know about?
Commissioner Tobias talking.
One question that I would ask is, again, I think it was talked about the number of trucks that tractors that may be in there, but what is would they be coming and going at all hours, or are they just in there of a nighttime and out of a daytime, or what can you tell me about that?
Is this in Austin?
No, we're talking about the health department. Austin was mentioned public. Health department's what the call and request was. Tri-Hawk had been mentioned as another possibility, but the request to us was for the health department parking in Scottsburg.
Alright, will the drivers and
they'll be coming and going.
Correct.
Will there be people sleeping in the tractors?
No, those are all, people that, live down that way or either live up this way, so they'll be, anytime they stop, they go home, then some way, either up here or down there.
And there'll be no trailers, is that correct?
We mean no trailers.
Be the tractor only.
Yeah, it'll just be the tractor only.
Yeah.
What, and then, this is Bob Tobias again, let me ask you, and a time frame on this, I mean, how long are you willing to, I guess, contract to do this with us for? Is this a year-to-year contract, or 6 months, or what are you looking for here?
In Scottsburg,
Yes,
can I put you on hold real fast?
yes.
Because I obviously did not get all this information. So give me
Just
1
talk
second,
about
all right?
I'll tell you what, are you okay with this, if the other two members are you okay if I have our attorney call you and work out details?
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
I'll do that, but should I have him call you personally or Matt?
You can call me personally, this is cell phone, so.
Okay, I'm gonna give this to our attorney, if you don't mind, let him work out details and see if we can work together on this.
Okay.
Okay, Mike?
I'm good with that, if everything, we just need a little more information and that kind of stuff, I think.
I mean, I like what you're proposing, but obviously we gotta get everything in order to do that, so. I'll call our attorney tomorrow and give him your number, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Okay.
That's a little ambiguous.
Where's my,
Yeah. Blood this here.
All right.
I mean, I'd like for him to come to a meeting and explain what he's doing, because, if it's a yard that they're gonna be coming and going on, there's gonna be personal vehicles parked there, people.
He said
on-
there'd be personal, he took, yeah.
There's gonna be people on and off that yard all day and all night long. If there's 30 tractors, that's at least 60 times somebody's going to be driving out on 31 out there, you know, during the night and daytime, that's gonna be more traffic.
And the reason I let Terry know too, because they'll be coming in out of that city street in the back way in there.
I had originally, again, when I first heard about this, and to John here, I even thought out, that's what he was talking about there. I thought maybe there might be a disagreement we could, I don't know how good they want. If they want a gravel parking lot, I would almost think that we may be able to do something up at the Tri-Hawk, which was, I thought might be something that we might entertain. But again, I think we gotta know what he's wanting.
I think that's what he was talking about.
And that's what I kind of
Confusing
think.
me, but everything.
Yeah, I think he might be a little confused there,
Yeah.
and that's talking about two different places. So if it's something that we can entertain and do, I'm all for it, if it's going to be good for this county. And I think, again, the
Well, if it
revenue.
brings revenue in on a blank sheet of land that we own, then I
Yeah.
think that's positive. So.
And I don't care a bit if you guys want this number, talk to these people, you can make your own phone calls. But I do think, like you said earlier, our attorney needs to get involved.
Yeah, I think he's gotta get involved on this. I
So
think
if you want the number, Mike, you know the trucking business pretty well, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, you can give it to me after the
I'll,
meeting.
yeah,
so
absolutely.
I don't want everybody to know what it is.
Yeah.
That's why we call them.
Absolutely.
Hey, I've got 2 acres.
Okay, well, that's about where we can go with that tonight.
All right, next up is the, on the 911 EMA Trailblazer to the Plan Commission inventory. And this is, we talked about this earlier about our building inspector needing a vehicle to go out, and I think it should be, and it should be marked, and I know Mike, we talked about this before, that it should be marked as a building inspector, and it should be something that he can go out and go on the job sites. And they do have one through the EMA side over there. It is a Trailblazer, but I think it just needs to be, it is our vehicle, so I think we can certainly assign it to the Plan Commission inventory, and at that point, he would be able to drive it to and from home and not have to check it out every day and sign it out every day and all that. But again, he could drive it to and from home for business purposes only. is what I think we've said, and, because he does go out on the weekend if somebody's getting ready to pour concrete, and they got a foot of dug, and it's gonna pour down rain on Monday, and they call him, he will go out and inspect it, so I would be all right with that, so if you guys.
I'm with that. What kind of vehicle was it again? We talked about it.
It's the old white Trailblazer, the EMA had.
Okay. And, whoever we wanna do, we could have the highway department or sheriff even offer his guy down there it hadn't been used much, so it might need,
Something, whatever.
check it all out and all
Well, I
that.
think they had this sticker taken, so there was an EMA Homeland Security sticker on the side of it, I think they took that off, so.
Okay.
But as far as how well it runs or anything, I know, I can't think of her name right now, but, the last EMA director. Linda Dawson. Linda drove it all the time, so, but I don't think Greg drove it too much, so.
Well, I think the real question here is moving it out of, having to go over there and sign it out and say, yeah, take it with you, take it home, use it only for business.
Well, while we're talking about vehicles, I know I think the last meeting we approved, corrections over here getting 2 new vehicles, and I think they have a Trailblazer. Would it be something that we could possibly move that to maybe, Andrew Campbell to utilize, put a ladder rack on it or whatever, so he can put all his tools, because he's probably, besides Mike Shulin, he's probably the 2 biggest guys that drive their
Person
personal
and I are all
vehicles.
for letting him have one.
Yeah, they're both out there driving their personal vehicles, more than any other county employee probably, and, you know, I'd like to see him get some sort of vehicle someplace so that he's not using his personal vehicle, and, you know, I've said this a million times, and that if one of those guys have a wreck, their insurance is what's gonna eat them up, it's not ours.
I'm for that, maybe we ought to figure out which vehicle.
Well, I think Brian's turning in or he's not turning in, he's driving a blue Trailblazer now,
So,
or some sort of SUV thing.
I'm trying to figure out how to make the vote, should we just,
No, mine was different than yours. I think we need to vote on the EMA going to the 8.
yes, let's do that first.
The other part I was just throwing out there, I think that's something, when Brian's truck comes available, I think we need to get,
We'll
get
vote on it
Andrew
then.
or whatever.
Andrew done a good job.
Yeah. Do I hear a motion to allow the transfer of inventory to the planning commission for the Trailblazer, now?
Can I amend that? It should be assigned to the building commission.
I kind of put, yeah, I said the
Okay.
wrong thing, and I'm sorry.
Okay.
You heard what
I think about them as being this, because
You
they're down
can't
there
drive.
together, so, yeah. Marty, no rights for you.
Okay, so we'll amend that to say that it will go to
To
the
the
building commission.
Commission.
I'll second that.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
All right.
So that just means now you can go where, I suppose one of us ought to call tomorrow and tell them, give them the key to it.
I think, well, Tammy.
Jessica's already contacted me because she saw it on the agenda, and she said, so do you want the keys? I said, well, wait till they move.
Yeah,
So
good,
she's
yeah.
ready to go. If Ben wants to walk over there and get them, I can let her know.
Let Ben know in the morning.
You let Ben know, I'll let Jess know.
Okay.
Okay.
All right,
I think,
claims consideration here, we got a thing here from a Crow's Nest Counseling, and this is in the form of, it's for professional services, for the month of, looks like, April and the month of May, for $6,250 per month for a total of $12,500. And this is, for the health department, and, that's, all I can tell you about it. Do you know anything more about this, Tammy, than I do?
No, not really. It looks like PAGP, I think that's a grant, and I think that this is probably a customary consulting service that they use through I'm not really for sure if that's a public health emergency planning grant or whatever it is, because you do see that there are, you don't have a copy, but I do, there are expenses here that's related to flu plans, vulnerable population plans, COVID-19, so I'm sure this is emergency planning, and it's consultation that they have used for that grant.
I'll tell you, I'm all for that, but it always goes back to the issue I was talking about, not a lot, I mentioned, but I'd like to know more about these things when they get to us, but
Yes.
it is always a little, and I think I have total trust in what we're
And the
doing
only
here.
reason you're seeing this outside of your big claim batch is because that this has a deadline or it has something that needs to be paid more of an urgent nature that's not timing out right for the regular claims batch, because obviously you don't get those till June the
I'm
3rd.
for it, I would,
Yes.
I'll tell her privately, let me know ahead of time.
At least, and this is kind of a good thing every once in a while when these pop up, because you guys look at actually claims off and on in depth,
Yeah,
okay?
and
So
well,
it's okay.
Yeah, we get
It's-
so many
it's
claims
just-
beyond, but it's,
yeah.
that's another story, but anyway, I'll make a motion to pass it.
Approve, a second? Make it unanimous, and, need to sign off on that, or?
I'll stamp it if that's okay
That's
with
fine,
you.
That's fine, works great. Next up is the May 8th, 2020 payroll ratification, claims here, and, do I hear a motion to?
I have one question
Okay.
about payroll. Does each department, when they do their budget, do they budget for so many people? Or do they have to come to the commissioner, the council, and ask for additional people, whether it's full-time, part-time positions, or whatever?
The budget time, they ask for the changes or continue with the number of people that they have already. Depending on what's approved at budget is what the salary ordinance is based on. And that being said, if it's a full-time position, those are pretty much counted. They're listed individually on that. I don't know if you've seen the big salary ordinance sheet I've got, but I got 3 pages of salary ordinance. I've got positions and that type of thing. And it tells you all the positions that the county has. So then it has sometimes the number of people. If they're second deputies, which are kind of, I'll call them herd positions, because there's several people that fulfill those duties in all kinds of departments, there'll be a number attached to that. But if they're payroll or they're designated by a different salary, different job title, they'll be listed separately. So then if it's part-time, usually that's just a lump number. And
So they have a part-time budget?
line item with a budget, like I have 7,000 in my department.
Okay, that's,
Yes.
I guess that's where I'm.
So I could have 2 people, 4
Yeah, you
people,
can have 100
but,
people,
you know, I'm paying,
you don't
yeah.
Extend your budget.
No.
Okay.
I'm
that's-
limited to what I can spend for part-timers, no matter if I spend on one person
I
or
guess that's where
10.
I'm getting at, because I'm trying to figure out, you know, part-time people, whenever.
Anything
somebody's
with
telling me, "Oh, I'm
benefits."
Part-time, and I'm like, part-time where? I mean,
Yes.
so, you know. it's-
Anything with benefits has a position listed, or either that position with however many is in that position in that office, and it's all divided by each office. And then part-time is just there,
fee.
yeah, it's just there.
They've estimated what kind of part-time help they're gonna need, and if they exceed that, then,
They would have to ask council for more money, or a transfer from one line to another in their same budget. They would give it up somewhere to spend it there, and it would be with council's approval usually, for those kind of things, if it comes from something other than personnel services.
okay. So, I'll look through that, I'll make a motion to accept it.
Second?
Second.
I'll make it unanimous.
Now that you said that, that's what I remember before, that it's a budgeted thing.
And
It's got a
what
cap.
about the minutes for May 6th, 2020, if everybody had a chance to look at them?
Well, no, because I
I
didn't get
didn't
them to you, so
Yeah.
they just table those, and I'll get them to you
Well,
next
I
time.
didn't say yes.
Oh my gosh, I've been derailed too many times this week, and I couldn't get them to you guys. And it was just a 3.5-hour meeting, by the way, that I'm trying to type up, okay? So I just reminded you of that.
Understand. All right, that brings us to the end of our agenda here. Is there anything, John, that you
I don't
have?
think so, I brought up the things that.
I got a couple.
Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, I know we didn't, wasn't on the agenda tonight, but the 911 interviews that we did the other night, and Bob, I know you were out, and
Yes.
again, sorry for, loss of your mother-in-law. But, I don't know how we wanna handle, those 4 candidates. I don't know if you wanna try to make time and meet with all 4 of those candidates, cause I don't think it would be fair to any of the 4 if you didn't have a conversation, but that'd be John and I trying to tell you what our thoughts are. And, so, I mean, that's totally up to you, but I'm not ready to make a move there on that. And, so, I mean, I'll take any input you got, or whatever you wanna do, or however you wanna handle it, but that was one of the things I brought up, or was gonna bring up, was the 911 candidates. The other thing, Tammy, I was gonna ask is, when we put out an ad for a position, how far and where do we put that ad at?
There's no consistent answer for that. Most consistently is that we advertise it in a local paper, our official newspaper, which happens to be the Cartersville Times. And so,
So it doesn't even go on the Scott County Herald?
Is it fair
Not
to say
typically,
you
no.
do what we tell you to do?
and the minimum requirement I have, for example, is whenever there's typically a position that needs to just be posted for 5 days. Say, for example, we had maintenance custodian position. We posted that for 5 days, goes on the front door of the courthouse, goes on the bulletin board, and then that's usually positions that kind of end up promoting from within. So we don't spend money on those that we know is a successor kind of position. Then if there's an opening, then we put it in the local newspaper. If it is a position that is specialized.
But again, the
yes.
local newspaper to you is the Crowsville Times, which
Yes.
I've never read in 10 years, so.
Right. So.
But I think, in defense of what she's saying here, when the giveaway shut down, the
Chronicle
Cartersville
part of that,
Times
mhm.
was, had to be the paper of
I
those two.
understand that, but.
So, that's the one, you have to, I think we have to run it in that one, but I think we could also run it into.
And I can do more, but also we do have budgets, and we do have, and then depends on how many positions we're talking about too. Sometimes we do run ads quite often for things, because we do have more openings than what you'd think. But whenever it's come to something specialized, if you guys want me to reach out more for anybody that's in your wheelhouse, so to speak, you just direct me, and I'll try to do the best I can. With EMS, I should say, I've been down that road once before, so I knew that what you guys, and that's a very specialized position. So usually it goes on the state listing, if I can find it. I can't find where they post that anymore. And then we do it in the Louisville metro area, which that's going to be, the advertisement has been sent to them, and it'll be up there, and that goes into a lot of social media outlets and recruiting things through this outlet. And that's going to be paid through the EMS budget, because that is for their department's recruitment.
Now, I had somebody contact me that, in the same issue, maybe the same person, I don't know, was wanted to put in, but they didn't realize it, and they got in too late, and we were already at that point getting ready to do our interviews, and they're like, oh, well, I made a mistake. And then I got an email from them wanting us just to put it off. And I didn't even respond to that, because I felt like we got this far, it would be a total disservice to everybody else to do that. That's just my opinion. There's always a possibility if we don't like the candidates, we can start over again. I'm not ready to go that way, but it is what it is.
Well, my whole thing here, and I don't do the advertising anymore that I used to, and I mean, there's places that you could go out to, and I could get 5 or 10 responses. I can put it in another place and I can get 150 responses. So in turn, I guess I was just asking where, and if and I'm not trying to be critical here of you or anybody else, and I know I hated that the giveaway is not here anymore, because it was the best newspaper we ever saw. But and that's my opinion. But social media is so big out here with avenues to advertise for positions, that I would hope to think that we were utilizing some of that, because a lot of people don't pick the paper up anymore. A lot of people turn their laptop on, or pick up a tablet, or go off their phone looking for jobs.
If you guys would want to subscribe to one of those Indeeds or those ZipRecruiters or something that I had a subscription, you know, we could get that maybe budgeted for next year. I don't know how much those
Some of it's
cost.
free.
Some of it's free,
Some of it's
okay.
free.
Because like we talked earlier, I mean, I think it depends on what the position is. There's some positions, yeah, maybe we could get spread it out, but if it's not, if it's something I don't wanna say, but for the job, it just doesn't have any requirements, I don't see no need putting it out in Louisville.
Right.
But I'm with you on this, I still think it comes back to we need, whenever we have a hiring process, tell her what we want. Maybe we want this to go out of our area. Now, we can do maybe if you've got something free, I mean, maybe it's there and we can use it whenever we want to, but I don't know if we need to do it every hiring.
I'm not saying that, I'm just saying that, now I've said this 3.5 years, I'm never satisfied with our hiring tactics because we consider ourselves an equal opportunity employer, but sometimes we do things different every time instead of doing it the same way every time. And, and I'm not being critical here. My main question was where we were doing it, and if it's a matter of us saying, Tammy, we're gonna give you the money to go and do it on this site, or this site, then that's up to this board and for us to put that money aside to do that. But you know, how often do you hire for EMS, or how often do you hire for an EMA director or anybody else?
And most of the positions, quite frankly, are people that you're not going to have somebody drive from Louisville to work at the highway department. You're not going to have somebody drive from Louisville to work in my department. We're held to 35 hours a week. I can't even.
And quite honestly,
Yeah.
depending on the position, I don't know if I want somebody to come to Louisville. We can hire local if we want to.
But those
the problem-
specialized positions
But where
are the
I'm
ones we
getting with
reach.
that, it's
Yeah.
not necessarily, you're advertising Louisville, but you're not, you know, people in Sellersburg or people in Jeffersonville, or people in Louisville or in Scottsburg are looking at the Louisville paper to get it, looking for the want ad. So it's not necessarily you're getting a person from there, but you're getting the other. And the other part is, and I know we've done this before, is that I think we need to put a salary range in there, because when you get into EMS where it's a degree process, you got a lot of people, and the last time we did this, we had people that were coming from 6-figure jobs, you know, applying, and this isn't a 6-figure job. So if they don't know that. I mean, it even got to the point where, what was it we were doing for the veterans thing?
Yeah.
2 people walked in and go, "What's it pay?" And they turned around and walked right back out and said, "Sorry to bother, waste your time."
Yeah.
So I think sometimes we need to put even though we put it's a part-time position, 26 hours or whatever it is, we also need to put on there the date or the salary range between this, and that cuts out a lot of people.
And then sometimes work up prior to interviews. I mean, I know I've had to hire a couple people. If I see what they are leaving, possibly to come, I call them. And I say, hey, look, my position only pays so and so.
Yeah.
Then I don't waste their time.
I have a pre-interview on the phone before I ever talk face to face.
And that's always, I think, a good idea, because that helps them and helps you too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's all kinds of tactics we can do probably more at, but again,
All right, the last
yeah.
thing I have, Bob, and I want you to talk,
Nope.
is, I guess I watched the rest of the council meeting the other day, and I guess I'm set back as, you know, with what they passed with this extra pay for COVID. And I guess I'm set back to the fact that there was an amendment came in front of this council, or in front of this commissioner board that was kind of alluded to that, what they ended up passing, and I wasn't for that either. So I just want to go on record of saying that I wasn't for that. Wasn't for it when we said we were going to close the courthouse, and I still don't think it's right. The other part of that is that they made it for 4 weeks, and And EMS is still out here on the front line hauling COVID patients, which they did the night before and they did last night. So, so I guess since the courthouse is, you know, done with their stuff and it's 4 weeks and they cut it off, that I guess EMS is still sitting out here with, you know, still on the front line per se, and their pay stops at 4 weeks. So I just want to go on record saying that I disagree with that whole policy. I disagree with people coming to this courthouse while it was closed and now they're getting comp time and all this other stuff. I didn't like it when it happened, and that was part of the ordinance that we passed, and I agreed to that it was a 40-hour week and nothing more, and seems to be that somebody made it happen one way or the other. So just want to go on record saying I didn't like that and still don't like it. So
All right.
sure, sorry.
All right, and let me follow up to that there, that unlike you, I didn't have a chance to watch the rest of that, so I really don't know what's going on here, but I will. But I didn't know that something had been decided to pay anybody.
Well, I don't think they voted to pay anybody. I think they just talked about it, didn't they? I don't think they
And I'm gonna
actually
go
voted to
on-
pay anybody.
I'm gonna tell you guys how this actually truly works.
Mhm.
Anything that's done, an amendment to an ordinance that's already adopted or your handbook policy, council can vote anything in they want to for their idea of their board's actions. You guys can do the same thing, but anything that amends that handbook that I have in there on my desk or amends the salary ordinance, which is a matter of policy and funding, has to be jointly adopted by both boards. Council was only arranging their idea of what an additional pandemic compensation policy might look like. They were trying to organize their thoughts because you guys will have to also be on the process. And that's going to be something that's going to be signed off on by both boards before I will take any action on payroll. I will never, ever go against policy in that handbook unless both boards are on board for that transaction. Okay, so nothing is done in payroll. Roll will not be done in payroll because I live by policy. I don't live by board actions.
Am I wrong? They did not vote any that $2.50 an hour.
Pardon?
What was the vote?
Okay, the vote number one, the first thing I remember, and again, I don't have my notes in front of me, was that they moved that they would support PTO time being returned that was taken specifically through March 25th through April 18th. Anybody that took a vacation PTO leave would have that return to make it even, because some people took spring break and their plans got canceled and other people sat at home, okay?
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, so that was the first step. The second one is, okay, what do we do with this group of employees? Because honestly, 35-hour-a-week people are not 40-hour-a-week people. 40-hour-a-week people have overtime. They get other things that happen. We only work 35. We have no overtime. We have no other benefits other than our straight wages. I think, now I'm not trying to speak for them, but I think their reasoning behind the clerical side, and even that, including the highway side, because they were sent home to shelter at home if they could, was to return the time that they actually not worked remotely, but actually came into the office or worked outside, that exposed themselves to other individuals while others were allowed to not to shelter at home. So they were just, the simplest thing for them is a time for time on that sense, because we don't have extra money in our lines to pay people. It's just okay, you came in and worked 4 hours, you know, Joe Schmo got to stay home. Now Joe Schmo comes in and works. He's working, you get to go home for 4 hours. It was just a trade because there's no bottom line change in the budget. It just is a moot point. The hazard duty pay was to give extra compensation for those frontline people and all the health, and they put the health department in there as well, and the frontline workers, to give them additional compensation that is beyond what they normally even make. the other clerical wasn't gonna be, you know, I mean, if you watch the tape, you can probably even see me suggest, well, do you wanna do a hazard duty pay for clerical, a dollar amount? But it's all gonna have to come out of county general or something somewhere, you know, to in the line items, or they're going to fund it through something else. So I just want to remind you guys that anything that is policy in regards to personnel, in the sense that it has to have funding and it has to have agreement, is a function between both your fiscal and executive boards. So it's not a done deal. That's going to be probably in the pandemic talk on Friday.
On Friday.
Yes.
Well, where I was getting at is when we passed the ordinance that cleared it with the State Board of Accounts, was that we were paying everybody 40 hours.
No, that really was not on that ordinance. I promise it wasn't. Because I only,
That's what I voted on.
well, I only get 35 hours in my department.
What we decided was that everybody that worked a week was gonna get paid their regular work.
I agree the regular wages, but not 40 hours, because I have 35-hour people.
Well, I understand.
You see
that,
what I'm
but
saying? Yeah.
It's a 40-hour week, whether you work 35 or whatever your pay was, and I mean, some are 40, some are 35, whatever it is,
Right.
whatever it would be, those people are gonna be paid the same, because it's already budgeted. So that money is was never gonna change anything in this world, because the money was there, the money was budgeted, and that's what they should got paid and kept their benefits and everything else. And that's what I voted on. And I said at the time, because I think John said, well, there's gonna be a problem, somebody's gonna complain about getting paid or not getting paid, or whatever. And then when the amendment thing came in, when Mike Zollman made a comment about comp time, I said, what are you talking about comp time? So the people that were coming in the courthouse to do some necessary things were wanting their 40 hours plus, they were wanting, whatever time they came in here, they were wanting comp time down the road. Well, I was never for that in the beginning, I wasn't for that in that, and that's why I'm saying now, I'm not for it now. So if anybody's gonna get paid for anything extra for hazard duty pay, it should be EMS. I mean, there are other people out there having to double jam, double mask, double everything, and walk into somebody that's dying and take care of those people. I mean, so nobody else in county government is touching anybody like that. So.
And again, it's not my policy.
I know.
I'm just saying I cannot do anything in my capacity until both boards agree on something that amends those policies.
I was
Okay?
under, and
No,
I'll say I'm
no.
wrong, because I thought it was a done deal, so I
No,
apologize
no.
for that part.
No,
I'm
Mike
glad it's not
Zollman
a
and
done
I
deal.
had conversation already. Everybody is on board with it. It is a matter of both boards agreeing to what gets. If there is any additional beyond what the original salary amendment ordinance that you guys passed by both boards that was only effective through March 25th through April 18th, if there's anything additional done, just like it took both boards to even agree that we're not going to be guilty of ghost employment, is basically what that amounted to, because if you've got people on call, they got to be doing something to get paid. That is going to take the same action to do anything above and beyond that, because I have no authority on that salary ordinance without it being a policy and a funding issue together.
Right.
Okay?
That's even wrong.
And it always comes down to who, which ones do you pay? Anyway.
And then that's a decision that's not in my pay
Somewhere else
grade.
on both wrong. Thank you.
That's all I got. Thank you. Sorry about that.
All right, no problem. On good news. Let's talk good news.
My guess is
Let's end on some good news. What do you say?
Water or what?
Well, possible. I think we have. I think we talked before, and I have been talking with a company about getting some food delivered in here to Scott County. They were not able to get a bid, so I shifted gears, so to speak, and I have talked to a company that did get a contract, and we have it set up as of 4 o'clock this evening. I was contacted, and come next Wednesday at around noon, there will be a semi that will come in, to, the Rock, which is, there on South Avenue Street. And, we'll have 550 boxes, is what I'm being told, that contain 50 pounds of food. They have, yeah, I know there'll be a gallon of milk. I know there's like 11 or 12 pounds of pre-cooked chicken nuggets in this box. There's 4 pounds of pre-cooked bacon. There's 5, I think, pounds of pre-cooked pulled pork barbecue. I think 5 pounds of potatoes, 3 or 4 pounds of sliced, individually wrapped sliced cheese, American cheese. I think there's also 4 or 5 pound bag of oranges comes in this. And that's on Wednesday. We'll roll in, as they're telling me now, at noonish at the Rock. Thursday.
Are those individually packaged?
They're just a 50-pound box, so them boxes would be offloaded. They are coming on a refrigerated truck, so we're going to try to coincide this through the partnership, Scott County Partnership, and to make sure that this is distributed and called at people's house. Now, better news, again, on Thursday around noon, there should be a semi roll into Austin at the, I think the Firehouse is probably where we're going to do that at right now, and it will have 550 boxes on it, 1,100 boxes. This program is through the CARE Act, and it's through the USDA. This is part of President Trump's $3 billion investment to farmers feeding families. And the USDA's got involved in this and is purchasing this. This is all free of charge to free of charge to the people that's receiving it. No trucking bill, no nothing. It's just a matter of helping, in my opinion, 1,100 families here in Scott County during these times. And the deal is set up to run through December the 31st of this year. With that being said, there is, as you can well imagine, a big need for this, and I know that it's been guaranteed to me, or at least promised to me for this next Wednesday and Thursday, and then they will let us know on a weekly basis for the first few weeks here until they get, because they said they're having a hard time getting the food to them so they can get it to us. But it's about, like I say, 1,100 boxes. So that's what.
Who's determining what families get that? Is that through the clearinghouse?
And the clearing, I tell you what, it's going to be again. I think I would hope that we would have some kind of something in place there that is going to go to, I guess, Scott County residents and the most needed, yes. And so,
but there is somebody that's determining who those families are going to be.
Trying to, and that's going to be, again, that's going to be a challenge, but you got to realize that, and I just.
You ain't going to turn it down.
No, I've just done the math on that right there, and that's 55,000 pounds of food that will come in here next week, and hopefully every week throughout December 31st. So that's what I've asked for, and so far, like I say, I feel good about it.
So a week from today?
A week from today, and it was actually, was hoping it was going to start this week, but there's so many cogs, it's just, it's for them to get theirs set up, that's what it is.
I assume we'll get advertising.
Yes.
So we can advertise this, that it is going, that people will be served starting at noon, stay in your car, and it will be placed in the car.
That's what I was asking, because if you put it out to the media that there's this truck's going to be there, you're going to have 10,000 people out there.
I think at that point, and again, I think we need to probably do something to show that you're a Scott County resident, but it is to any resident. I'll just, in need. I would put it that, I would hope that people would, you know, certainly,
Don't pull up a cattle.
yeah, well, you know, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying that there's people out here that, definitely need it. And I think, you know, there may be that we may have a list, and I may, contact, I don't know, would it be some of the fire departments in every township, or maybe even the sheriff's department here, and we may deliver some to some homebound people that cannot get out.
I might check some churches.
Sure. And I think we need to do all due diligence to make sure that we try to put this in the hands of the people that need it the very most.
And I'm guessing
That's my hope.
They have their own crew of people or something.
That's something that we're gonna need to find, we're gonna need to find some volunteers, and we'll find them. I think we're gonna be good on that, to be able to, unload this stuff right here and make sure that it gets off the truck, and there'll be, you know, we're looking at about a 2-hour window, but I guess my thought is the best way to do this is as it comes off the truck, hopefully that the cars can be there and pull up, and you just put, you know, somebody puts it in the back seat or puts it in the trunk, whatever, and they drive off.
And they're doing this all in a lot of areas, so I assume they probably got some kind of plan lined out for this. Or
Well,
wherever they're doing it.
Yeah, well, I think the plan gonna come from us. No, I think these people just found, you know, they got the deer in the headlight look too, to tell you the truth, you know, because they're trying to figure out how do they get to, you know, the food in there and then get it out. So they're basically just saying, you know what, let's get this thing rolling and go from there. So anyway, it is something that,
Do we need to vote
on behalf of, yes, I think we should.
I'll make a motion.
And, that we accept it and go forward.
I make a motion to accept it and use whatever due diligence we gotta do to keep people safe in the process.
I'll second that.
And I'll certainly make that unanimous, and, again, this is, something that, I started hearing about, and it's worked out, I think, for the very best for this county, I'm hoping.
I appreciate your hard work on it.
Well, you know, it's something that, I think the need's here, and we'll go from there. How's that?
One more question. Okay, so they will start this at noon, like the food will come in a little bit earlier, and then people will start lining up at noon.
You know what, I'm gonna say probably, let's say 12:30.
Okay.
Because the truck is they're gonna, you know, and Mike's in the trucking business, you know, is out there, they're saying around noon. So I said to them,
So that's between noon and 3.
yeah,
Yeah.
pretty well. But I said, you know, I said then at that point, we will probably advertise for people to start coming around 12:30. Because if the truck gets there at 12 o'clock, I think we would wanna have time to set it, get the doors open and get people in place to start jerking this stuff off, you know.
Okay, you say this is through December 31. Does this mean that every last Wednesday of the month, every last Thursday of the month, these 2 deliveries will be made?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. What I'm telling you is, this is, hopefully, the program is in place through December the 31st. Hopefully, this is 2 trucks a week, not a month. 2 trucks a week for every week. Now, this is what.
Thursday.
Every Wednesday and Thursday of every week is what we have asked for, and if they are able to get their end covered with the food, then we will be able to have it here, is my understanding. But the first few weeks, we're gonna go on a week-to-week basis based off the fact that they're not sure if they're gonna be able to get this food to them. So it may not, there may be something comes up that we only get 1 truck 1 week, or we may not get no truck and get it the following week. But, you know, this is all
In the process.
in the process.
What we can get,
And
what
then-
we can get.
Yes, and, we'll take what we can get, but that's what I've asked for. And I've
So on
got a verbal commitment that that's what we would get, as long as everything that falls in line. Is what we-
So on our end, say next Wednesday, what do we need on our end if this truck rolls in there? Is it just gonna be who's gonna be there to meet the truck, who's gonna be there to unload the truck, who's gonna be there to decide what family's gonna get it, or is it first come, first served?
I think at
Who are
this,
those people?
I think at this point right here, I think to receive this, I think, and again, the partnership's gonna have, I think we're gonna look at them too some, but I think we're probably, I don't think it would be unfair to ask for a idea that's showing that you are from a resident of this county. Then at that point, I'm gonna have a hard time, I guess, saying to anybody that you can't have it. Because, whether or not, it's hard for me to look at one person and tell that they need it and look at another person and say that they don't need it. I've just gotta think people's gonna go on their own merit and on their, hopefully, and get, if they're in need, come get it.
So is it something you might be able to utilize, like, FFA guys or something, since it's US?
Maybe, or, again, I don't know, maybe even, I was gonna maybe even talk to the sheriff about utilizing maybe even some of the reserves. This shouldn't be, terribly to, and another thing is, we may, take, I don't know, I think we've got a forklift at the county.
That would be the easiest thing.
And I think we could take that and take a hand jack down there, and that way we can offload it. We don't have to carry it from the front of the truck. We can make sure everything's at the back and set it off on the ground, and just, you can get rid of, off-bear it pretty quick then.
Well,
And
if they're not
I
getting-
never was in the position that you are in the trucking. I was always on that off-bearing, so I know a little bit about unloading them trucks, And so anyway, that's something that I think we can do, and with not a whole lot of people, I think we can make this happen and get rid of it in a timely manner. It is on a frozen food truck, it's on a refrigerated truck, so we wanna make sure that we don't have to store it long and just basically put it in the car and send them on their way. That's
I think you'll take it and run with it, you've done it.
And, so, but I will make sure that we have a pallet jack and a forklift there, I think, at both locations.
Well, I think we have a forklift, but I mean, we might be able to reach out to one of the factories or Thomas or somebody, that surely somebody's got a couple or four jacks.
Yeah, I think we could do that. And, so anyway, I wanted to end on a good note here. No, we've not, I'll accept the motion,
I made a motion.
to adjourn.
No, to accept it. Did we?
Oh, yeah, we voted on it.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
voted.
did.
Okay, I thought we brought it up,
Yes,
didn't know we
yes,
actually
yeah.
voted.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to close.
All right, Mike has made the motion to
Oh, I
adjourn the
want to
meeting.
call the wall.
What about second?
I'll second it.
I'll make it
I thought you
unanimous.
said you didn't want to talk.
All right, we're out of here and,
Let me click this off.
okay.
I can talk, when you guys